We all love comfort. It's natural. We crave it. It's safe, it's familiar, and it's easy. But here's the hard truth: comfort is a cage. It might feel good in the moment, but it's holding you back from everything you're capable of becoming. Comfort is seductive, but it's also deceptive. It tricks you into thinking that you're okay where you are, that you don't need to push yourself any harder. But the longer you stay in that comfort zone, the further you get from your potential. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. If you want to grow, if you want to achieve something great, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to do things that challenge you, that push you beyond what feels safe. Because growth doesn't happen in the safety of your comfort zone. It happens out there, in the uncertainty, in the struggle, in the places where you're forced to stretch beyond what you thought you could do. Comfort is like a warm blanket on a cold day. It feels good, but if you stay under that blanket for too long, you're going to miss out on everything that's happening outside. You'll miss the opportunities, the experiences, and the growth that comes from stepping out into the unknown. And here's the thing about comfort: the longer you stay in it, the harder it becomes to leave. It's like a cage that closes in around you little by little, until one day you realize you're trapped in a life that's too small for the dreams you once had. So why do we stay in that cage? Why do we choose comfort over growth, time and time again? It's because stepping out of your comfort zone is hard. It's scary. It requires you to face the possibility of failure, of rejection, of not being good enough. But here's the truth: failure is part of the process. Every successful person you've ever admired has failed, probably more times than you can imagine. But they didn't let that stop them. They didn't retreat back into their comfort zones when things got tough. They kept pushing, kept growing, and eventually they broke free from the cage. Think about it. When was the last time you really challenged yourself? When was the last time you did something that scared you? Something that made you uncomfortable? If you can't remember, then you're probably stuck in that comfort cage. And if you stay there, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. You'll never know how high you can climb, how much you can achieve, or how much you can grow. Because comfort is the enemy of progress. It's the enemy of ambition. And if you're not careful, it will become the enemy of your dreams. Now, don't get me wrong, comfort has its place. We all need moments of rest, moments where we recharge and regroup. But if comfort becomes your permanent state, you're in trouble. If you're always choosing what's easy, what's familiar, what doesn't challenge you, then you're not growing. You're not evolving. And in a world that's constantly changing, if you're not growing, you're falling behind. Here's the thing about stepping out of your comfort zone: it's not just about achieving more or doing more. It's about becoming more. Every time you push yourself beyond what feels safe, you're building resilience, you're building strength, and you're building confidence. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And once you break free from the comfort cage, you'll realize that the possibilities are endless. But breaking free isn't easy. It requires courage. It requires the willingness to fail, to make mistakes, and to keep going even when it gets tough. But here's the good news: the more you step out of your comfort zone, the easier it becomes. What once felt terrifying starts to feel normal. And before you know it, you'll be living a life that's so much bigger than the one you were living inside that cage. You see, the cage of comfort isn't built in a day. It's built slowly, over time, with every decision to take the easy path, to avoid risk, to stay where it's safe. But just like it's built over time, it can be broken down, piece by piece, with every decision to do something that scares you, to take a chance, to push yourself beyond your limits. The key is to start small. You don't have to take a giant leap out of your comfort zone all at once. Just take one step. Do one thing that challenges you, and then do another, and another. Each step will build on the last, and before you know it, you'll have broken free from the cage of comfort that was holding you back. Time you find yourself choosing comfort Ask yourself, is this decision helping me grow? If the answer is no, then it's time to make a change. It's time to break free. Because the only way to grow, to evolve, and to reach your full potential is to step out of the comfort zone and into the unknown. That's where the magic happens. That's where you find out what you're really made of. Remember, this comfort is temporary, but growth lasts a lifetime. Don't let the fear of discomfort keep you trapped in a cage. Break free, take risks, and embrace the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself. Because the life you want, the success you dream of, it's all waiting for you. But you'll never find it if you stay in the cage. Every single one of us has something that pulls us, something that drives us, something that makes us get up each morning and keep pushing. It's that fire inside of you, that deep down desire to achieve, to succeed, to become something more than you are today. That, my friends, is hunger. And your hunger is your compass. It's what guides you, what directs you, what keeps you moving forward, even when the road is tough, even when everything around you is telling you to stop. Hunger is not just about wanting something. It's about needing it. It's about that feeling deep in your gut that tells you you're meant for more, that you can't settle for where you are right now. Hunger doesn't let you sleep peacefully when there's work to be done. It doesn't let you rest when there's still a goal to be reached. Hunger is that voice in the back of your head that says, keep going. Don't stop now. You've got more in you. But here's the thing, hunger alone isn't enough. It's not just about feeling that desire. It's about letting that desire guide your actions, letting it shape your decisions, letting it push you beyond what you thought you were capable of. Hunger isn't just a feeling, it's a force. And if you follow it, if you let it be your compass, it will take you exactly where you need to go. Too many people lose sight of their hunger. They get comfortable. They start to settle. They stop listening to that voice inside them that says they're meant for more. They start chasing the easy path, the safe path, and in doing so, they silence their hunger. But here's what you need to understand: comfort is the enemy of hunger. The moment you get comfortable, the moment you start to settle, you lose that fire. You lose that drive. And when that happens, you lose your compass. So how do you keep your hunger alive? How do you stay focused on that internal compass, even when the world around you is trying to distract you, to pull you off course? You've got to keep feeding it. You've got to remind yourself every single day why you started this journey in the first place. You've got to stay connected to that vision, that goal, that thing that made you hungry in the first place. Success isn't something that just happens. It's something you chase, something you fight for. And the moment you stop fighting, the moment you let yourself get comfortable, is the moment you lose that hunger. The world is full of distractions, full of things that will try to pull you away from your goals. But if you let your hunger guide you, if you let it be your compass, you'll stay on course. You'll stay focused, driven, and determined. You have to treat your hunger like the precious thing it is. You have to guard it, protect it, nurture it. Because once that hunger dies, once you let it fade, it's incredibly hard to get it back. It's easy to lose sight of your hunger when you start achieving small successes, when you start seeing some progress. But that's when you need to dig in even deeper. That's when you need to remind yourself that you haven't reached the top yet. There's more to do. There's more to achieve. And here's the reality: hunger isn't just about ambition. It's about purpose. It's about understanding that there's something bigger out there for you, something that you were meant to do, something that only you can achieve. Your hunger is your compass because it points you toward that purpose. It points you toward your destiny. And if you listen to it, if you follow it, it will never steer you wrong. The path won't always be easy. In fact, it almost never is. There will be days when you question yourself, days when you wonder if it's all worth it, if you're really cut out for this. But in those moments, let your hunger remind you why you started. Let it remind you of the vision you have for yourself, the goals you've set, the person you're trying to become. Your hunger is what will get you through the tough times. It's what will keep you moving forward when everything else is telling you to give up. It's what will make you get up earlier, work harder, and push further than anyone else. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about how talented you are, or how smart you are, or even how lucky you are. It's about how hungry you are. How badly do you want it? How far are you willing to go? How much are you willing to sacrifice to get there? Your hunger is your greatest asset. It's your compass, your guide, and your fuel. And if you follow it, if you stay true to it, there's nothing you can't achieve. Let it drive you. Let it push you. Let it remind you every day that you're capable of greatness. Don't let comfort steal your hunger. Don't let distractions pull you off course. Stay hungry, stay focused, and let your hunger guide you to the top. Life is a journey filled with peaks and valleys, challenges and triumphs. But one thing is certain: if you want to reach the summit of your personal mountain, you can't stand still. You can't make progress by being passive. Success doesn't just happen, you have to move toward it. It requires action, persistence, and the courage to keep climbing even when the path is steep, even when you feel like giving up. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain, looking up at the summit, imagining the view from the top. You can see where you want to go, the vision is crystal clear. But if all you do is stand there, staring, dreaming, wishing, you're never going to get there. It's not enough to want to climb, you have to take the first step. You have to be willing to embrace the struggle, to lace up your boots and start moving toward your goal. Climbing a mountain, whether it's literal or figurative, requires effort. It requires you to leave your comfort zone and face the unknown. And that's scary for a lot of people. It's tempting to stay where you are because it's familiar, because it feels safe. But safety is an illusion. The comfort zone may feel good in the moment, but it's not where growth happens. You can't grow if you're standing still. You can't reach new heights if you're not willing to climb. Progress is made in small, steady steps, one foot in front of the other. Some days you'll feel like you're making great strides. Other days it might feel like you're barely moving at all. But even slow progress is better than no progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to the top. The key is to keep moving, to keep pushing, to keep climbing, even when the journey gets tough. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm not here to talk about success, I'm here to talk about hunger. Because growth doesn't start with ability or talent. It doesn't start with luck or resources. It starts with hunger. That deep, burning desire that says, I'm not finished yet. There's a truth that's as old as time itself: nothing worth having comes easy. Whether it's success in your career, fulfillment in your personal life, or the achievement of a long-held dream, the path is always paved with challenges, obstacles, and moments that test your will. It's in these moments, when fear is staring you in the face, that you have a decision to make. Do you let that fear hold you back? Or do you push forward, armed with a desire so strong that nothing, not even fear, can stop you? Because here's the thing: if you don't want it more than you fear it, you'll stay exactly where you are. Growth doesn't come from playing it safe or avoiding failure. It comes from the decision to move through fear, to take action, even when every fiber of your being is telling you to stop. Fear is natural, but the desire for more success, more impact, more growth has to outweigh the fear of failure, embarrassment, or discomfort. Think about the things you've wanted most in your life. Maybe it was a promotion at work, a personal achievement, or even a relationship you were striving to build. When you look back at the path you took, one thing is clear: every step was filled with uncertainty. There were times when you weren't sure if you were capable, if you were enough, or if the effort would pay off. But you pushed forward anyway, didn't you? Why? Because deep down you wanted that result more than you were afraid of the obstacles in front of you. Fear is the mind's way of keeping you in check. It's there to protect you, to make sure you don't step too far out of your comfort zone. But comfort is the enemy of progress. When you live your life avoiding discomfort, you end up avoiding growth. You end up settling for a life that's far smaller than what you're capable of. And here's the thing about fear, it never really goes away. No matter how successful you become or how many times you faced it before, fear will always show up. The question isn't whether or not you'll feel fear, it's what you'll do when fear shows up. Will you let it stop you? Or will you look it square in the eye and move forward anyway? You have to want it. Whatever it is for you, a goal, a dream, a new chapter in your life, you have to want it with a fire so strong that fear becomes just another hurdle to leap over. Your desire has to be powerful enough to drown out the voice in your head that says, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people laugh at me? That voice will always be there. But it's not the voice of truth, it's the voice of fear. And fear has no place in the mind of someone who's determined to grow. Let me tell you something. The people who achieve greatness in this world are not the ones who never feel fear. They're the ones who move forward despite it. They feel the fear, acknowledge it, and then keep going. They know that fear is a part of the process, but it doesn't define the outcome. What defines the outcome is how badly you want it. You have to make a decision. Do you want the comfort of staying where you are, or do you want the challenge and the reward that comes with stepping into the unknown? Do you want to live a life of safety, or do you want to live a life of significance? Because you can't have both. The road to growth is always going to be lined with risks, doubts, and fears. But the question is, do you want it more than you fear it? Fear is powerful, but it's not stronger than your will to succeed unless you let it be. Think about the times in your life when you allowed fear to hold you back. How did that feel? How did it feel to let fear dictate your choices? Now think about the times when you moved past fear, when you stepped out on faith, even when you were unsure of what would happen. That's where growth lies. That's where greatness is born. Wanting something more than you fear, it means being willing to take the first step, even if you don't see the entire path. It means trusting that with each step, clarity will come, courage will grow, and the obstacles will become smaller. It's about recognizing that fear is temporary, but the regret of not trying that lasts a lifetime. If you're standing at the edge of something you want, but fear is whispering in your ear, I'm here to tell you this: you have to want it more than you fear it. You have to be willing to fail, to be uncomfortable, to face the unknown. Because the truth is, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And once you make the decision to push past it, nothing can stop you. Life will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path, slam doors in your face, and challenge every fiber of your being. But here's the thing about closed doors: they aren't a final answer. They're a challenge. They're asking you a question: how bad do you really want this? Because if you're serious about your goals, if you're committed to your vision, then one closed door, or even 100 closed doors, won't be enough to stop you. Too often, people encounter rejection and take it as a sign that they're not good enough or that their dreams aren't worth pursuing. They knock once, maybe twice, and when the door doesn't swing open immediately, they turn around and walk away. But the people who achieve greatness, who break through barriers and reach the top, are the ones who keep knocking. They knock until their knuckles are sore. They knock until their persistence becomes impossible to ignore. They knock until that door has no choice but to open. Let's be clear: rejection is a part of the process. It's not personal, and it's not a reflection of your worth. Every no you hear is just a step on the path to your eventual yes. The key is not to let the rejection define you. You have to understand that every door you knock on is a test. It's not there to stop you. It's there to see how determined you really are. Are you willing to keep pushing forward, even when the road gets rough? Are you willing to keep showing up, even when it feels like no one is listening? Think about it. How many success stories have you heard where everything just fell into place on the first try? Not many, if any at all. Every great achievement, every life-changing breakthrough started with a series of closed doors. And every person who reached those heights had one thing in common: they refused to take no for an answer. Look at the people you admire, the ones who inspire you. They weren't handed success on a silver platter. They didn't coast to the top. They faced failure, rejection, and closed doors just like you. But the difference is, they kept knocking. When the door didn't open, they knocked again. And if that door still wouldn't budge, they kicked it down. That's the mindset you need to adopt. You have to understand that rejection is not the end of the story. It's just part of the journey. In fact, every no you encounter is a step closer to the yes that will change everything. But you'll never reach that yes if you stop at the first closed door. You'll never get to your breakthrough if you let a little resistance scare you away. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go your way. It's easy to start doubting yourself, to start thinking that maybe you're not cut out for this. But let me tell you something, success isn't about how talented you are or how lucky you get. It's about how resilient you are. It's about how many times you're willing to get back up after being knocked down. It's about how long you're willing to keep knocking on those doors, even when it feels like no one's on the other side. You see, most people give up too soon. They knock on a few doors, face a little rejection, and convince themselves that it wasn't meant to be. They settle for less than what they're capable of, because it's easier to stop trying than it is to keep pushing. But the truth is, every rejection is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to get better. Every door that doesn't open is preparing you for the one that will. So if you've been knocking on doors and they're not opening, don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Keep knocking. Knock louder. Knock with more conviction. Because the people who succeed aren't the ones who never face rejection, they're the ones who refuse to let it stop them. They understand that persistence is the key to breaking through. And they know that every no brings them one step closer to their yes. Here's the reality: life doesn't owe you anything. The world is not going to hand you success just because you want it. You have to earn it. You have to fight for it. And sometimes that means knocking on doors that don't open right away. Sometimes that means facing rejection after rejection and still showing up the next day with the same hunger, the same drive, and the same determination. And let me tell you something, when you finally get that door to open, when you finally break through after all the rejection, the struggle, and the hard work, it's going to feel that much sweeter. It's going to mean that much more because you'll know that you earned it. You'll know that you didn't give up, that you didn't let the closed doors stop you. So my challenge to you is this: the next time you face a closed door, don't walk away. Don't get discouraged. Keep knocking. Keep pushing. Keep believing in yourself and in your dreams, because if you stay persistent, if you refuse to take no for an answer, if you keep knocking on closed doors until they open, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. And remember this: the door you're waiting for might not open today. It might not open tomorrow, but if you keep knocking, it will open. And when it does, you'll be ready to walk through it, stronger and more resilient than ever before. We all have dreams, big, bold, audacious dreams that excite us, scare us, and make us believe in something greater than our current reality. But here's the truth: dreaming is the easy part. Anybody can dream. Anybody can sit back and imagine themselves at the top, living the life they've always wanted, basking in success. But it's not the dream that gets you there, it's the work. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't the size of the dream. It's the size of the effort they put in. You see, dreaming big is only the first step. It's the spark that lights the fire inside you. But without fuel, without action, without hard work, that fire will burn out before it ever has a chance to become something real. Too many people fall in love with the dream, but they aren't willing to commit to the grind. They want the result, but they aren't ready for the journey. They talk about where they want to go, but they don't put in the work to get there. Here's the thing: dreams don't work unless you do. It's not enough to say, "I want to be successful." It's not enough to visualize yourself winning, to speak it into existence. That's important, yes. You've got to see it in your mind before you can achieve it. But vision without action is just a fantasy. You've got to be willing to get your hands dirty. You've got to be willing to sacrifice, to struggle, to push through the pain, the doubt, and the uncertainty. You've got to work harder than you ever thought possible, not just once in a while, but every single day. Let me tell you something, there's no shortcut to success. There's no elevator to the top, you've got to take the stairs. And those stairs, they're steep, they're long, and sometimes it feels like they're never ending. But every step you take brings you closer to the top. Every hour you put in, every ounce of effort, every setback you overcome, it's all part of the process. It's all building you up, preparing you for that moment when the dream finally becomes reality. But here's the catch, if your work ethic doesn't match the size of your dream, you'll never get there. You can't dream of being a champion and practice like an amateur. You can't dream of success and work like you're comfortable with failure. The size of your grind has to match the size of your goals. If you dream big, you've got to work even bigger.